In the heart of the Andromeda galaxy, where ancient stars burn with violet light and millennia, old empires raise, cities made of living crystal, there existed a world called Velshara, a planet of silver spires brushing against nebulas, ruled by an elite, alien caste obsessed with ideological purity and absolute cultural control. There, everything was perfect, ordered, silent, and suffocating. But even in the most perfect empires, there are always those who dare to question, those who see beyond doctrine, those whose ideas are considered too dangerous to exist. A lone spacecraft cut through the void. It wasn't a warship, nor an exploration vessel. It was a prison ship. Inside it, two figures, sisters by blood, exiles by conviction. Lyra and Qaeda, Velshorian nobility, with iridescent skin shifting under the faintest lights, silver blue with luminous veins, pulsing like living circuits. Large golden eyes burning with sharp intelligence. Long hair like metallic fibers, flowing as if alive. Lyra, the eldest, moved with lethal elegance. Every gesture calculated, her voice soft yet cutting, diplomatic when she wished, deadly when needed. Her eyes carried the weight of someone who had seen too much, yet still chose hope. Qaeda, the youngest, was pure fire. Explosive, passionate, unable to hide anything she felt. Where Lyra negotiated, Qaeda destroyed. Where Lyra observed, Qaeda acted. Beneath her rage, however, lived a vulnerability she protected like a dying star. They had been judged for ideological heresy, their crime, questioning Velshara supremacy, suggesting other species had value, proposing empathy. Inside the gleaming judgment hall, the shimmering elders leaned forward on their crystal thrones. "You have polluted your minds with primitive concepts," the High Elder pronounced. "Exile is mercy. Death would be justice. Choose a primitive world and rot there. Never again stain Velshara with your presence." Without appeal, they were pushed aboard the ship, launched into the void. No return, no forgiveness. Only coordinates to a remote solar system where a primitive species had barely left its own planet, a species called humans. The ship shook violently, damaged from the forced wormhole traversal. Alarms echoed in an alien tongue. "Perfect," Qaeda growled at the sparking control panel. "They can't even exile us properly." Lyra kept her hands steady on the flickering controls. "Trajectory locked. We're entering the atmosphere of this planet, whether you like it or not." Ahead, Earth appeared, blue, white, fragile, beautiful. To the sisters, a golden tomb. To humanity, the beginning of everything. The ship didn't land. It crashed. It tore through the night sky like a burning meteor, slicing clouds, shaking the Nevada desert. The impact lit up the horizon like a newborn sun. Sand trembled, helicopters rose, alarms screamed across military bases. When armored vehicles surrounded the smoking crater, soldiers witnessed something no protocol manual had ever prepared them for. The hatch opened with a metallic groan. Steam and smoke poured out like the dying breath of a wounded beast. Two figures emerged, tall, graceful, armored in biomechanical suits cracked with sparks, yet walking like royalty, despite the fall. Pride intact. Lyra raised a hand, not in surrender, but in command. Several human fingers tightened around triggers. "Lower your primitive weapons before I melt them," she said through her flickering translator. Qaeda laughed, sharp and bitter. "This is what they send to greet us, a zoo of primates holding fire sticks." Tension suffocated the air until one man stepped forward, Major David Carson, early 40s, scars across his face, eyes steady, trained to see the worst in humanity, and yet, somehow, still capable of compassion. He approached, unarmed. "You're injured," he said firmly. "Your ship is destroyed. Primitive or not, We know how to identify refugees when we see them. Lyra studied him, truly studied him, saw posture, discipline, something her world had lost centuries ago, unconditional compassion. For the first time since exile, she hesitated. "We are not your refugees," she replied. "We are your superiors in exile." "There is a difference." "Maybe so," Carson replied calmly. "Superior or not, you're bleeding. And that," he pointed to the crater, "didn't look intentional." Kaida stepped forward aggressively. "You dare, Kaida," Lyra interrupted with a defeated sigh. "We have no choice." She turned to Carson. "We require temporary shelter until we repair our ship. Then come with us," he said. "But the weapons stay here." Days passed under steel and concrete. Technically, they weren't prisoners. Officially, they were protected guests. Yet the guards, locked doors, and constant cameras told another story. Their room was sterile but comfortable. 2 beds, simulated windows projecting a fake sky. Kaida punched the wall on the first night. "From Velshurian nobles to lab rats," she growled. "What a glorious fall." Lyra inspected every detail with cold analysis. "We were never nobles, just fools who thought we could change anything." "Do you think they'll kill us?" Kaida whispered. Lyra hesitated. "Not yet. We're too valuable. But someday? Probably." Humans came with questions. Scientists, soldiers, diplomats. "No, we do not have death rays," Lyra sighed during an interrogation. "Yes, our technology is more advanced. No, I will not explain quantum fusia to a species still burning dead plants for fuel." Kaida had even less patience. "Why study our society?" she snapped. "To copy, to conquer. You're like every empire small, pretending to be big." The air grew heavier each day until Carson arrived with a new idea. "We need you to see something," he said. "Not protocol, but it might help." For the first time, they were taken outside. The city stretched before them, under the rising sun, hundreds of thousands of humans, noise, energy, chaos, beauty. Lyra went silent. Kaida nearly cried. "It's chaotic," Kaida whispered. "Unorganized. But alive," Lyra finished. "It's alive." They saw children laughing, artists painting murals over gray walls, musicians playing for strangers, elderly couples walking hand in hand, arguments, hugs, life. In Valshara, everything was perfect but empty. Here, nothing made sense, and because of that, everything felt real. In a quiet Japanese garden, an old monk greeted them. "You've traveled far," he said. "Not by choice," Lyra replied coldly. "The greatest journeys never are," he answered. Kaida frowned. "What do you know about journeys?" "You've barely left this planet," he chuckled softly. "And you, with all your knowledge of stars, do you know love?" The word froze both sisters. Lyra finally spoke. "Love is a primitive concept. Chemical bonds, hormonal illusions." "Then you have never loved," the monk murmured, tragic for being so advanced. The idea haunted them. Lyra began watching human romance films, confused at why someone would risk everything for another person. Kaida listened to music late at night, and once a single tear fell during a song about loss. They read poetry, philosophy, trying to understand the weakness humans called meaning. Then they appeared. Captain Marcus Wright, 32, towering, disciplined, sharp-eyed, silent from weight, not timidity. Lieutenant Jamie Foster, 28, sniper, charming, hiding deep scars behind a grin. Assigned as personal security, a polite way of saying armed babysitters. Kaida blocked Marcus in a hallway. "You, tall human, you fight? When needed, show me. Now." Minutes later, they were in the training room. Kaida attacked like a storm, fast, brutal. Marcus flowed like water, redirecting, absorbing. She ended on the floor. He offered a hand. "You're good. you're better, she admitted. But you fight with… calm. You fight with anger, he said. Anger makes you predictable. Her eyes widened. How do you know that? Because I used to fight with anger too. Elsewhere, Lyra found Jamie in the library reading Shakespeare, a soldier reading poetry. She teased. An alien judging by appearances, he shot back. Lyra almost smiled. What are you reading? Sonnet 116, he said. About love, the kind that doesn't change. Read it, she requested. He did. Slowly, softly. Lyra listened, something new stirring behind her eyes. Weeks turned to months, boundaries blurred. Kaida and Marcus trained, laughed, argued. Lyra and Jamie talked during late evenings about fear, hope, stars, life. All four sometimes shared meals. Accidental touches lasted longer. Eyes lingered, but there were rules. One night Marcus collapsed into his bunk. I'm screwed, he muttered. Kaida, Jamie asked. Marcus groaned. She smiles once and my brain melts. And Lyra, Marcus teased. Jamie held up Shakespeare. She's impossible, brilliant, confusing, and those eyes. Meanwhile, I hate this feeling, Kaida whispered. My chest burns. You're falling in love, Lyra said simply. We don't do that. Velshirians don't. We're not Velshirians anymore. Kaida trembled. What if I'm just a Leon thing to him? Then he's a fool, Lyra replied. But I don't think he is. The first confession happened under the stars. Do you miss home? Jamie asked. Velshara was never home, Lyra said. It was a beautiful prison. And here? Here. I think I'm learning what home means. I'm in love with you, Jamie blurted. Lyra froze. Then tears, real tears, rose. In Velshara they said I couldn't feel this, she murmured. But you make me feel alive. They kissed, soft, then fierce. Kaida and Marcus soon followed. I'm dangerous, Kaida warned. So am I, he whispered. Don't run. She kissed him like breaking. But exile's joy never lasts. Alarms screamed. Red lights, explosions. Velshirian warships ripped through the sky. They were here. Not to rescue. To kill. Carson sprinted toward the sisters. You must evacuate. Now. No, Lyra answered. This isn't negotiable. You're right, Kaida said, loading a weapon. It isn't. They came for us, Lyra said. But they'll have to go through you first. And I won't allow that. But they're your people, Jamie shouted. Lyra cupped his face. You are my people now. The battle was hell. Lasers against bullets. Alien shields against human bravery. Lyra hacked systems, shouting coordinates. Kaida cut through soldiers like a storm. Marcus shielded Kaida from an explosion, taking the hit. Marcus, she screamed. No, I'm fine, he gasped. Don't stop. Jamie and Lyra fought back to back. If we survive, he began. When, she corrected. When we survive, I'm proposing to you. You're insane. For you. Absolutely. The flagship descended, blocking the sky. Lyra, Kaida, boomed the commander. Surrender, or watch your new home burn. Lyra looked at her sister. Together. Always. They stormed the ship. What happened entered military history as simply the event. 30 seconds to overload the core. They escaped as the flagship exploded behind them, obliterating the invasion. Silence. Smoke. Victory. Carson stared. You destroyed an entire fleet. We protected our home, Lyra said. Your home? Kaida nodded. Earth, if you'll have us. Applause rose. Slow at first, then overwhelming. Days later Marcus lay healing in a hospital bed. You almost died, Kaida whispered. Worth it, he smiled. I love you. I love you too, she said, her first time, primitive or not. In a quiet field at sunset, Jamie knelt before Lyra and held out a ring forged from Velshirian metal. Lyra of Velshira, will you marry me? Laughing and crying, she said yes, 1,000 times yes. 5 years passed. Lyra worked with human scientists, building bridges between worlds. Kaida trained specialized units, fierce and focused, Marcus by her side. Jamie and Lyra built a home filled with both human and alien culture. Sometimes, the four met atop a hill, overlooking the rebuilt city below. "I never thought I'd call this place home," Lyra whispered. "But with you, it finally makes sense. You are my home," Jamie replied. "Wherever you are." Kaida leaned into Marcus. "I wouldn't change anything. Every wrong turn brought us here, and whatever comes next," he said, "we face it together." The wind carried the scent of earth, of life, of love, of possibility. Two humans, two exiled aliens, bound by a love no council, no empire, no war could destroy. They had been expelled from the world of their birth, but on Earth they found something far greater than a planet. They found a home,